And of course, the big news internationally has been the U.S. Saudi meetings.
Yeah, well, this is the big historic summit, Mike, in the Middle East here, the U.S. Saudi Investment Forum, and they're calling them power talks here. Donald Trump, of course, the keynote speaker, the big anticipated address. This is meant to be really the piece de la resistance of Donald Trump's Middle East policy. There's a lot of plates in the air, as you can imagine, between Israel, Gaza, the Iran nuclear deal, Yemen, just to name a few, not to mention courting these Gulf states, Mike. But let's get into it. And here's the keynote speech by Trump. We'll look at a couple of clips of this, but we'll comment on it. But we'll look at this one first. Go ahead.
Before our eyes, a new generation of leaders is transcending the ancient conflicts of tired divisions of the past and forging a future where the Middle East is defined by commerce, not chaos, where it exports technology, not terrorism, and where people of different nations, religions, and creeds are building cities together, not bombing each other out of existence. We don't want that.
I mean, where do we start here? Is it not the United States and Trump that just got done with a 7-week bombing campaign against Saudi's neighbor to the south, Yemen? That was the U.S., wasn't it?
And of course, all the way supporting Israel with their bombing people out of existence in a certain part of the world.
Bombing Yemen, or bombing Lebanon, and they're bombing Gaza. Who else are they bombing? Syria as well.
Yes.
So Israel's busy bombing people. So this idea that Arabs are bombing each other out of existence is, a patent lie by Donald Trump. It's hard to know what he's talking about most of the time because he doesn't put specifics in his speech, so you're left to interpret it. But it's clearly he's meaning Arab on Arab violence there, and it's just kind of ridiculous. And by the way, isn't it the U.S. that armed Saudi to bomb Yemen for 7 straight years from 2015 until 2022? I think that was the U.S. So anyway, here's the next one. Look at this.
Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries, pursuing your own unique visions and charting your own destinies in your own way. It's really incredible what you've done. In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves. They told you how to do it, but they had no idea how to do it themselves.
So he was singing the praise of the Gulf states, Mike, and how they have these tall, shiny buildings, beautiful development projects. The point is, only the Gulf states have been allowed to develop in the region. Everybody else has either been saddled under IMF debt or has been bombed by the U.S. or Israel or under sanctions. So he had to go at Iran saying, Iran hasn't built any of these beautiful buildings. Well, hasn't Iran been under maximum pressure sanctions for 20 years?
Right.
For what? We don't know. Yes, they have been. So again, in Syria, under sanctions for 14 plus years, that country is completely imploded as a result, leading to the regime change in December. But there's no context in any of these speeches. It's more performative. And that's one of the things that, unfortunately, Trump doesn't really deliver much in terms of substance. But the big question, Mike, the big question before this summit was Giuliani was going to be there, the self-appointed president of Syria. His new name is Ahmed al-Sharar. They've changed his name. He's Saudi-born. He appointed himself the president of Syria. He is the founder of Al-Qaeda in Syria and the deputy of al-Baghdadi at ISIS during that time. Anyway, was Trump going to shake hands with him, Mike? Is he going to endorse this terrorist? Well, let's take a look. Yes, it actually happened. Here, Trump endorses Syria's Al-Qaeda terrorist leader Al-JAWLANI right there next to MBS. To me, this is one of the most regrettable photo ops in American history. I will go so far as to say it's even more cringe than anything Zelensky has done in terms of historical significance here. And there's Trump shaking hands with the Al-Qaeda founder, the leader, this head chopper, basically, who just a few weeks ago, Mike, this was on the United States Department of Justice notifications, stop this terrorist, $10 million bounty on the head of Al-JAWLANI.
Has that been removed yet?
I think it has in the U.S. only a few weeks ago. So what happened? Did he have a Damascene conversion on the way, like Saul of Tarsus, on the way to Damascus? I mean, how do you not become the head of ISIS and Al-Qaeda all of a sudden? It's mind-boggling, Mike. And anyway, I'm kind of speechless.
Yeah, lost for words.
I'm speechless, but it gets worse. He was then asked on a presser on the Air Force One what he thought about this Jawlani, who is currently, while they're shaking hands, Mike, running pogroms, slaughtering Alawites and Christians in Syria this week. His gang of terrorists, HTS, Al-Qaeda terrorists. Here's what Trump had to say.
How did you find the Syrian president?
Right. I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy. Strong pass, very strong pass fighter.
Does that worry you?
But he's got a real shot at pulling it together. I spoke with President Erdogan, who I'm very friendly with, and he feels he's got a shot at doing a good job. It's a torn up country.
Do you think Syria will join the Abraham Accords?
Yeah.
Sorry, did I hear him say a young, attractive guy, a tough guy?
Yeah, a young, attractive, a strong past, said Trump. A strong past as a wanted terrorist. Okay, I don't know. I think, listen, it's a real slap in the face to any U.S. servicemen who were pushed to the front line of this war on terror that the U.S., Britain, and all these countries were forced to fight by the establishment all of these years. And Trump is basically saying, what a wonderful, good-looking, attractive, with a strong past. I mean, does Donald Trump know what he's saying, or is he completely vacuous? Is he totally clueless to any of this? Are his advisors clueless, or is this just the height of corruption? It's really hard to tell sometimes with Trump, and I think he purposely makes it ambiguous. But let's just remind people here up on screen. This is Jake Sullivan, former national security advisor, and he's saying quite clearly in this email in 2012, Al-Qaeda is on our side. Al-Qaeda is on our side. And here is James Jeffrey. This was Trump's point man in Syria right here in Trump's first term. James Jeffrey, basically, Al-JAWLANI's organization was an asset to America's strategy in Idlib. Okay, so really, Mike, what Donald Trump has just done this week, he has completed the life's work of these two people. We'll put up on screen. Hillary Clinton and John McCain spent their whole career trying to legitimize Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and Trump has done it this week. He has completed the job of Hillary Clinton and John McCain by platforming Al-Qaeda and ISIS and having the United States government endorse these some of the worst people on the planet.
Are they going to come out and admit to how much money and military assistance they've been giving them for the years? Oh,
that's going to be nicely swept under the rug now. Oh, let's just let bygones be bygones. He's a reformed man. He shoots baskets on YouTube. That's Jawlani, the terrorist here. So here's a few problems, though. We have a problem with Marco Rubio. We'll bring this up on screen. This was just on March 9th. Rubio said Syria must be held accountable for the perpetrators of massacres. He's talking about the massacres, which we covered on previous programs on UK Column, of the massacres of religious minorities and ethnic minorities in Syria, Alawites, Christians, Druze, Shiites, and Sunnis. And Yazidis, everybody. Jawlani has massacred and killed everybody in Syria. He was the butcher of Syria, not Bashar al-Assad. It's funny how they're flipping the script on this. So where's Rubio now? Rubio is in Saudi Arabia. Rubio is rubbing shoulders with Jawlani. So where's Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State? Does he have any principles? Does he have any ethics, any morals? or is this just all empty talk these days, giving lip service to whoever this week's subject is? So here's the facts, Mike, and we could just give you reams and reams of reports on this. Survivors of Al-Jawlani's government's massacres recount the death and destruction, kidnapping of women sold on the market in Idlib for sex slaves, you name it. Oh, and by the way, even Amnesty International was forced to release a report, multiple reports on this. The coastal regions in Syria, Alawites, Jawlani's running pogroms. They had their own Kristallnacht in the coastal regions of Syria. That's the best way to describe it, quite accurately, in fact. And there's just endless amount of reports like this. And you just have to go here to social media, Mike, and just type in the search bar, Alawite massacre. And that's all we've done here. And you could just scroll and scroll, and you see some of the most horrific scenes where Jawlani's police are forcing men to bark like dogs and crawl on the street, beg for mercy, and then they summarily execute them.
That's a war crime right there.
It is a war crime. So there is no, and we apologize for the gruesomeness of this, folks, but our governments are endorsing these people and recognizing them as a legitimate government when just a few weeks ago they were a listed terrorist organization, and we have all their crimes on film, real time. And look at this, rounding up men and boys, putting them into the back of trucks, taking them off to be killed, tortured, or whatnot. This is a daily occurrence in Syria. They are ethnically cleansing anybody who is a religious or ethnic minority. And we could go on, Mike. You could just scroll. We don't need to show all of this, but you get the idea. It's just endless amount of massacres and examples of this. So we just go to X and just type in Alawite massacres. So it's not as if we're making this up. Look at this beautiful young women who have been killed, pregnant woman, also killed because she was Alawite, because she was the same sect as Bashar al-Assad. That's what's happening in Syria. That's who Donald Trump is Eva Bartlett. She's reported on a lot of these as well. This is what's actually going on in Syria. So what can we say? And meanwhile, so where are all these people on their principles? Well, here's another one. And we'll bring this up on screen here. This is the defense secretary. Now, this is back in February 25th. Okay, this is Pete Hegseth, U.S. defense secretary, meeting with the Saudi, his counterpart in Saudi Arabia. He's meeting with the Saudi defense head, Prince Khalid bin Salman. And note, okay, that's Pete Hegseth there, U.S. secretary. On his right bicep is tattooed in Arabic. The following is infidel. Okay, so the Saudis are supposedly the leaders of the Islamic world. Where are they on some of this stuff? This is somebody who's been openly hostile to Muslims, Hegseth. Clearly, you can see he's even got it tattooed. The U.S. Defense Secretary. I mean, where are they on this? Do they care? Are there any principles at play here? It all seems like what matters is money and guns and development, property development here. And so just not to be outdone here is Charles Lister, who is, I'm not sure what he is, who he works for, but he's kind of like a full-time public relations agent for Jawlani here. And Jawlani's talking about coexistence is our heritage in Syria. We're all about coexistence, and everyone's living happily together in Syria right now. Total, absolute, bold-faced lies. And so that's what's going on there. There he is, Charles Lister. I'm not sure you can look into any of these organizations. You'll probably find Qatari funding or something similar to that, or some think tanks in Washington, D.C. Who knows? But it's a good PR operation here. And also, Hegseth is meeting King Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, while he has an infidel tattoo in Arabic on his right bicep underneath his Armani suit. So that's what's going on. Meanwhile, this is what it's all about. Trump's courting the Gulf states for investment, $1.4 trillion from the UAE, an AI deal. Nothing is This is not guaranteed. What it is they're promising to buy chips from the United States, advanced AI chips, and Trump's made this into, quote, a $1.4 trillion AI deal. So these are MOUs, memorandums of understanding. Okay, these aren't solid deals by any stretch of imagination, but this is how crazy the coverage gets. Look at Fox. Trump takes a victory lap from the UAE, touts a $13 trillion deal. So in 12 hours, it went from 1.4 to 13 trillion. Maybe it'll be 20 trillion by tomorrow. I don't know. Anything's possible with Trump. Does it really matter? So here's the question, Mike, based on everything we've just looked at, and France has also received JAWLANI for a state visit, right? Based on everything that we've looked at, is Britain going to invite the self-appointed president of Syria, who doesn't want to have elections, by the way, okay, doesn't have a parliament, but he's the president? Is Britain going to invite this person for a state visit? This is an important question.
That's a big question.
Have you heard any indications?
Certainly the rumor mill is talking about it.
The rumor mill is talking about it. And, well, let's look at what Keir Starmer said immediately as Damascus was falling. He said he welcomes the fall of Assad's barbaric regime. Now, based on what I've just showed you, right, what we've just seen, would you say that JAWLANI's is a barbaric regime?
Beyond barbarism, actually.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
On the scale of horror, it's about as bad as you can get.
Right.
And it's all on camera. They filmed it all. So here's then Starmer the next day being aware of what could happen in terms of sectarian violence. This was Starmer the next day. It's too early to remove the Syrian rebels, quote, from the terror list, said Starmer. And to his credit, this is what the prime minister said. We have all seen in other parts of history where we think there is a turning point. It turns out not necessarily to be a better future than what we hope for, said Keir Starmer. We've got to make sure this is different. To his credit, Mike, that's a statement I think I can agree with. I know it's rare, but that's a statement we can agree with. And David Lammy even chimed in on this. Foreign Secretary at the time said, the UK will judge HTS, JAWLANI, by their actions, monitor closely how they and other parties to this conflict treat all civilians in areas they control. Again, based on what we have just seen?
Well, based on what we've just seen, both of them lied then because they have brushed it all under the carpet. They're not speaking out against it at the moment.
So I think but they're not talking openly about inviting him either. So they're caught in a little bit of a gray area, Mike. So meanwhile, there's all sorts of stuff on social media here. Again, that's fake news, saying Keir Starmer has already invited al-Sharar. Why is this stuff appearing? This is coming from the Gulf. This is paid fake news, okay? But so, Mike, there's all, if you Google Keir Starmer invites JAWLANI, you'll get hundreds of returns on social media posts, but you won't see any news items. So people beware that not everything on social media is true, and there's a lot of fake news out there. Why would they be putting that fake news out?
To soften people's public opinion for the things, for a future announcement. So we shall see what happens in the coming days.
Very interesting exercise in propaganda.
Yeah.